Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Miss Ross. We're continuing our review of topic 3, where you're using strategies and properties to multiply by one-digit numbers. Today, we're going to review estimating to determine products. And you might think, why are we doing that? Oftentimes, estimating is a great check to see if your actual multiplication is reasonable, if it makes sense. So it's a good strategy to go over, okay? So we often use rounding to estimate products. This can be used as a check method to see if your product is reasonable. All right, so we're going to build on sort of that review we did of rounding rules and then what we did yesterday of multiplying by multiples of 10, hundreds, and thousands. So let's look at a couple of examples. So let's look here. It's asking you estimate the product round to the nearest hundred. So I have 7 times 387. So I'm going to be looking at this 387 to round to the nearest hundred. Remember, it's telling me where to round to. So if you remember your rounding rules, the rounding place is the 3. Let me get my pen. I like to underline the 3 and draw the arrow to the neighbor, right? What does the 8 do to the 3? Bump it up or leave it alone? It's going to bump it up. So 387 is going to round to 400. And if you think of it on a number line, 387 is closer to 400 than it is to 300. So it's going to round to 400. So now all of a sudden, this looks like a lot of the work we did yesterday, right? 7 times 400. I like to think of my facts, right? My basic facts are 7 times 4, which is 28. And I know that there are 2 zeros in my question. So I'm then going to add 2 zeros to my product. So 7 times 400 is 2,800. All right, let's look at another one here. Estimate the product is the directions, round to the nearest thousand. So here we have 3 times 6,830. So I'm going to go back to my strategy for rounding. I'm going to underline the rounding place, which is the thousands place. I'm going to draw my arrow. What does the 8 do to the 6? Bump it up or leave it alone? It's going to bump it up. So 6,830 is going to round to 7,000. All right, and remember, if you think of it on a number line between 6,000 and 7,000, 6,830 is closer to 7,000, right? So then our problem becomes 3 times 7,000. And our basic fact is the 3 times the 7, which gives you 21. So then 3 times 7,000, I have my basic fact, and then I'm going to add 3 zeros because there are 3 zeros in my question. So the estimated product is 21,000. So let's go to our next slide. Okay, so estimate the product round to the nearest hundred. So you might see it presented to you like this today. So we have 197. I'm going to round that to the nearest hundred. Use my strategy. I go to my hundreds place. I draw my arrow to the neighbor. What does the 9 do to the 1? Bump it up or leave it alone? It is going to bump it up. We have a lot of bumping up today to 200 times 3. And the neon green on the green is probably not the best way to go, Miss Ross. There we go. So I remember my basic fact is 2 times 3, which gives me 6. And then I have 2 zeros in my question, so I'm going to add 2 zeros to my estimated product. So 197 times 3 is about 600. All right, one more for today. So they're also going to ask you today to check if the estimate is reasonable. So we've talked a lot about this year. Reasonable means, like, does the answer make sense? You know, if I did 5 times 5 and I got 10,000, we sort of know that doesn't really make sense, right? So is it reasonable? So here are directions. Estimate to check if the answer is reasonable, round to the nearest hundred. So we have 8 times 487. They're saying the actual answer is 3,896. So we're going to round and estimate to see if that 3,896 is reasonable. So when we estimate, let's hope we get something close to it, right? So 487 I'm going to do my rounding to the hundreds place. What does the 8 do to the 4? Bump it up so it becomes 500. I'm going to use my basic facts. So I'm going to do 8 times 5, which gives me 40. And then I'm going to add the 2 zeros, which gives me 4,000. Right? So is 4,000 close to 3,896? Yes. All right. So is this answer reasonable? I would say yes, it is. So you're going to be asked to think about that today as well. All right. Great job, everybody. Happy Tuesday.